I grew up in a household where my father was unsuccessful. A complainer, he didn't take risks. He wanted to start his own business, but he was too scared, he was fearful, he stuck fingers, he complained. So I made a promise to him at an early age that I'm going to be successful because I'm going to do everything opposite the way you taught me. And every time I solve a problem, I go, what would he do? And I go, I'm going to do the opposite. And that, to me, is my greatest life's lesson.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of A-List Conversations in partnership with the Real Estate Investors Group. Today I got Criag Cecilio, and we're going to be talking about capital raising. This guy has been raising money since the 90s. He's raised money for institutional funds, for nonprofits, and for real estate. And we're going to be talking about some of the things that he is now being very vocal about. He's helping people get into investing into investment opportunities that are not available to most people, and he's educating us about it. So I'm really excited to have him on. Criag, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me, Julian. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Criag. So it's great to hear you've been raising from the 90s. You know, it sounds like you have a lot of experience. So can you tell me what got you started? In this journey?
Yeah. I think it has to do with childhood. I came from a working class family. It struggled. My parents always struggled. My father was a struggling person. He always struggled in his career. He wanted to be a business owner and never took the leap. We grew up in a pretty wealthy area, and so a lot of the friends had the country club memberships. I had a good upbringing, and they did a great job with that. However, he never kind of got to that next level. So I kind of made a promise to myself as a kid I would understanding his frustrations led me down the path of what it would take to become wealthy. And so I started opening books, reading books, and put myself on that journey. And that eventually led me out to California soon after college. And lo and behold, I found a couple mentors who taught me how to capital raise, and another mentor taught me how to do real estate investing. So I got fortunate to do that, but that burning desire started as a child.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love how you took something from your childhood that could have taking you down a different path, and you made it something that is a powerful driver for you. So when you started capital raising, what were you taught, and how did you start raising capital?
Yeah, I was fortunate. I was fortunate to have a couple people who really knew how the game worked, how to structure the deals, what type of assets to put them in, how to talk to investors. Another mentor knew how to choose projects and manage the projects. So I kind of had everything at a fairly early age. I think I was about 23 years old when I started learning under their guidance. And lo and behold, it was really kind of getting your feet wet and doing all the different things. Some was kind of locating what a good deal is and figuring that out. One was how to structure a deal. At the beginning days, you more broker deals than anything else. These guys had money and some of them had funds, so I'd be out there deal sourcing for them. And then people with the fund, I'd be out there introducing them to some investors to put money into their fund. And so I just learned everything real quickly out of that. And it was kind of, I don't want to say it's funny, but they had me start out with hard stuff. It was like land entitlement. And I was like, geez, let's not like start with like single family homes or something. Let's go right into it. So I got to kind of understand how that worked, and it was a lot of no's because the land was always tricky, and it's all different based where it is. And it was exciting because I learned how to underwrite land coming out and how to entitle land or rezone it, or understand, hey, you look at the deal and all the reasons why you say no. It was always kind of a cynical thing. It was always, I was taught you have to prove to me why it's a good deal first, and on the underwriting side of things. And so by learning that, it was easier for me to articulate a good deal. And when you have that confidence and you're talking to someone as a new person in the field, that other person who had the money kind of respects you. They understand, okay, this is a knowledgeable person. So that's the first thing to do, is really become knowledgeable about the hardest thing first. And that wasn't on purpose. It was just by happenstance that's what this person did at that point in time. And then it was kind of the market cycle. Kind of understanding the market cycles and how that works.
Yeah, that's a big step and that you took in the beginning. Wow. And so when fast forward me a little bit, so you learned land entitlement, you learned how to do capital raising. A big part of today's big question is, how do you do capital raising, especially when interest rates are high? It seems like now the the bottleneck is raising capital. So what can you teach us about capital raising? How do you do it?
Yeah, a couple questions there. One, I'm a big like history buff. I'm a contrarian, and with investing, it's contrarian. When people are running, I want to run towards the fire, not away from the fire. So right now, it's a lot of uncertainty. People are on pause. I think this is a great time to buy and purchase assets. There's a lot of fear. When fear happens, people make emotional decisions, and a lot of people are like, I could lose everything. I'll sell right now and just at least make something. So that's where those opportunities present themselves. So I believe there's a lot of opportunity out there. But then you all look at the other side is you're trying to raise capital. Some of those same people might have that mindset, that fear mindset. They might be fearful, like, hey, I could lose all my money today. So you kind of have to understand how to communicate them. It's like, no, this is a good opportunity. So sophisticated investors know this. There's a reason that Blackstone built a $30 billion hedge fund for commercial real estate, right? They know you buy low and sell high. So it's really educating the people. For me, I've been around a while, so I do have a little gravitas to my name when I pitch somebody. So as an organization, we're out there educating people as much as possible why this is a good time for you. This is when wealth is created. This is where the opportunities are out there. It's very contrarian. However, today is great because you have mediums that can get the message out to a lot of people. And not a lot of people are probably going to buy into that or understand that because they don't have that awareness or that sophistication. However, we have these giant mediums. We have YouTube. We have Instagram. You got all the other channels, TikTok, Snapchat, where people are on, so you get your message out across the millions of people. And some people are going to understand that. And the other people who don't, it's kind of just like, I call it just marketing. It's like top of the funnel, bottom funnel, middle of the funnel. Is start educating people. And maybe there's people more in the middle of the funnel that you can start educating why this is a good time for them. Because most retail investors, and retail investors to me are like consumers, like you and I, people, let's just call it, that they always follow the herd. So you got to get them to change that thought process. And that's tough to do. So it takes just again and again and again and again. It's like a constant, I say it's like constant education. Like every time I talk to them, you're educating. And with all the mediums, you can push out through like all these mediums out there. So it's there is a way to do it. There's a way to reach a mass amount of people, and you just got to kind of just stick with the awareness and education. And look, the example is you could use credible sources. You look at historical data. There's ways to get the data with the advent of AI, right? All this chat GPT and everything. It's fantastic. And get it out there and just get in front of a lot of people. And a few of them at least will understand what you have to say and will listen to you.
Yeah, that's a great way. Yeah, things have changed and social media has, impacted our lives. So tell me, what is this diversity fund that you got going on? And, why are you building a personal brand now?
Diversity Fund was founded with the idea of opening up private investments, allowing access for everyone, regardless of your socioeconomic background. It's kind of nice where you're not kind of driving to a financial advisor or someone who's kind of judging you. It's a platform itself. You have an app as well. It doesn't discriminate. It's different sizes, not one size fits all. We have very low minimum amounts, as low as $500. We have investors, millions of dollars. So everyone has access as long as you're a U.S. citizen. We're just open to the U.S. right now. We've built a robust database. Over about 800,000 people have signed up. We have 30,000 active customers, close to about 100,000 transactions, hundreds of millions of dollars under management of real estate today. And we had to build out all the technology to support that. That's a whole nother conversation. If you want to do something about technology, we talk about that. And the whole idea was that really kind of matched my passion growing up in a working class family. So I wanted to give back. So it's not only about me making money, but it's me sharing that. And the old saying is like, hey, you used to have people take all the meat off the turkey bone. Well, I'm going to share the turkey bone, share the meat with everyone. And this is the platform where I could do that. I could give back and share my knowledge with people. So I'm really pumped about that. And as far as the brand's going, is nowadays the brand's everything. So if you're a CEO, you got to get in the digital age, you got to get your face out there. Fintech as a service has blown up. It's like 80 or 90% of the fintech applications gone under from the venture capital dollars. And a lot of that's because they try to hide behind an app and try to develop a brand. But it's still, at the end of the day, I think there's a need. I do personally believe there's a need, if you're the leader or founder or CEO of an organization, to get out there and get in front of it, because there's a lot of AI and fake news. You got to be authentic. You got to put yourself out there and let people know who they are and how they could trust you. So really it's about developing that connection with the community is why I put myself out there working on my brand as well. Yeah, great question. So I a lot of it is, first of all, where are you with your understanding of this asset class? And let's talk about apartments or multifamily. And you have different jargon. Who am I talking to? Everyone understands information differently. So we'll apartments for multifamily, it's depending on what I'm talking to. I'm going to use that a different word. And what is a growth investment? What's a cash flow investment? I'm not sure, like, really it exists where you get double-digit returns from on a cash flow basis month over month. Like, some of those products are a byproduct of an up market. It came out of a great 10-year time period, but really kind of understanding what you're investing in and how it works. It's really lead with education with them and understand, hey, this money is almost like a savings account. You don't want to touch. You want to put it aside for the future because it's going to appreciate. It's going to grow. It's not something to live off of. And for us, it's more like, hey, there's different sizes. It's not one size fits all. How does that fit you, your financial journey, where you are in life? Do you want to trade something for the future, for generations, for your kids? Are you looking at the horizon? You got just young kids. You're looking for their college. Maybe it's yourself. You're looking for retirement. Maybe you're looking for something to give your kids when you pass away. And understanding how that wealth is created, that generational wealth is created. If you look at that and like dive into the data, a lot of it's done through real estate and alternative investments. And a lot of people just don't understand how that works. They always go, oh, I want to get this and maybe flip a house or do something and make a quick cash grab, but that's more speculation. That's not what we're teaching. We're talking about a growth investment that appreciates over time, has less fluctuation than the stock market, but there's something that is related to market in some form or manner. Because today, if I'm a seller of these assets, I'm not going to make a lot of money. But if I'm a buyer of these assets, I'm going to make a lot of money. And understanding that difference. Not a lot of people understand that difference. Like today, if you own it, don't sell it. Keep it. If the rents are paying your mortgage and your costs, that's awesome. Let it just wait until the market takes off. And if you have capital to deploy and buy something, buy now, because if you buy now when it's low, in 2 or 3 years, it's going to go up and you don't have to do anything to it, really, at the end of the day, and you're going to make money. So it's kind of understanding how it works and understanding the markets. Like when's the time to be aggressive versus when's the time to kind of be a little bit more conservative?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, right now it's definitely not a seller's market. And I would say, why would someone choose, real estate over the stock market? Because everybody usually comes in and, wants to put in money in the stock market, but that even takes its own due diligence. Why would it be better for you, to have them invest in your fund and you be the stewardess of their capital so that you can get their double-digit returns and they can focus on, their work, on earning more income?
Yeah, I love the question. Start with the name DiversyFund, diversification. I believe you should be diversified across both, right? So what fits you? What are your financial goals? It's very specific to you. This is just an opinion. It's not anything factual. A lot of people do the stock market to get those astronomical returns. And that's speculation. Maybe it's day trading or trying to guess the market right. And some people just give it to someone and let it grow over time, which traditionally it's like 8 or 9%. I think the S&P 500 grows. So that's the same thing with real estate. Is how do I diversify in real estate? Can I outperform that S&P 500 as a benchmark? And you can do that if you do it the right way. If you choose the right assets, and you let it appreciate over time. People do like the stock market because you liquefy it a little bit more quickly with things. If things get kind of really tough in your life, right? There might be a life event where you need to pull it out, but then you're susceptible to that day or that year in the market and how it happens. Where real estate's more be a liquid vehicle, so you got to just plan ahead and just say, hey, I'm going to do this. This is kind of more set and forget for my future, and more. And I always think of the stock market as a little bit more speculative for people. So it just depends on you as a person, what you want to do. I highly would say do both, and just what percentage, what do you want to do as well. With our platform, again, it doesn't have these crazy maximum amounts to get in. And you're always hearing these larger funds where the entry level is, what was it the other day? I saw something that like Ray Dalio's fund doesn't take any more money from people. You have to have at least a $3 billion net worth to get in. There's other funds you need like $100 million net worth to get in. There's other funds that are lower, $20 million net worth to get in, right? And so it's like really these vehicles are hard to get in unless you are very, very wealthy to participate with. So our platform has that minimum very, very low. It's great for a retail.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how this changes things for most people listening. A lot of people have to be accredited investors or qualified purchasers or qualified clients, to get into funds. Why is this such a great opportunity for them now to be able to have, an investment vehicle where they don't have such a big threshold, such a big barrier to entry? And what is the barrier to entry?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you don't have access. I think we're the only platform that you can access this asset class in. So there's zero out there that gives them access to it. So right there, you haven't had this opportunity before. You're not sophisticated enough. You're not rich enough. There's like all these no's. You have to go through this stuff. We've worked long and hard to build this out, the technology, and work with the regulators to do it. It's not easy to do it, to give this opportunity for people, to give them access. And that's all you want to do at the end of the day, is give someone an opportunity, and it's up to you if you want to do it or not. And it's something that, again, a lot of people, as we have a lot of customers, a lot of people have never known this existed. Usually you're later in life, you hear about it. It's not even you're later in life. So you have to be in certain circles to hear about it. And it's like institutional quality investments. They own a fractional interest. It's a phenomenal opportunity. Now, granted, you got to understand where you are financially in life, and at the same time, how this affects you. It's like, how does this work? I mean, there's a lot of education we've been pumping out, and a lot of awareness, because we're with the onset of the digital age, a lot of information is shared. We all like to say it's accurate information, but it isn't. And so it's like getting through all the weeds and seeing what's factual and how it actually works. So that's one of our challenges, is understanding, hey, this is how we work. We just like to say how we are and not compare ourselves to anyone else. And this is how it benefits you. Because at the end of the day, our platform exists because of you, giving you access, and how this benefits you, your life, maybe your kids' lives, maybe the next generation.
Yeah, that's very important. So I guess let's touch a little bit back, on your journey a little bit. We skipped ahead from you being a capital raiser, to now launching this fund and building your personal brand. What has happened in that time frame between that you can tell us about, that we can take some lessons from it?
Well, I mean, starting out and scraping data in county offices, local offices across states. I am doing a lot of meet and greets and meetings, and it was interesting. It's a lot of face-to-face stuff. I don't know the audience. I had a Palm Pilot pre-cell phone that I just a Palm Pilot. It was the first thing I did. Using business cards. I haven't used a business card in years. Even when people are using business cards, stop using business cards, but using business cards back then, get the information, write stuff down. And then kind of get into groups of groups. I was always good though. I was always good at collecting names and email addresses and phone numbers. So that from the onset, I did that. I remember when I started out, I always got business cards. I always got someone's name. I always got their email. I always tried to understand something about them, something about their life, something about them, and I store that information. So I was always kind of into data before data was a thing. And I think that kind of led me on this journey to where I am today, because when the technology kind of got better and evolved, I was evolving with it. So I was like, okay, now there's a CRM system. Let's try this. Okay, now this one. Okay, let's try this. And then 2008, social media took off, and okay, now we can reach more people. Back in the day, it was like doing a lot of mailers too. That was interesting. Those worked, right? Those worked back in the day as well. Some people say it works today, but doing the mailers before the advent, and then you get into the online world, paid ads, and how that works. So it's really interesting to see. I always had an interest in that because I was always kind of trying to grow my database, and just KYC, know your customer, understand your customer, who they are, and really tailor the message to that customer, and understand your customer needs and wants, where they are with their financial journey, where they are with their financial acumen, Today it's great. You have all this data that you could use. It's moving so fast today. It's crazy. I don't even want to say hockey stick. I think with like artificial intelligence, what's a hockey stick like times 10? It's more like this, right? Like every day something else is coming out. It might even talk to you, Julian. I'm not sure if you're real because you could be AI. Because I've seen some AI recently that's mimicking people's voices to a T within like a 99.9 percentile.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And tomorrow it could be something different. And like actually tomorrow in 24 hours tomorrow. It's crazy how fast it's accelerating.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, definitely. Technology has, created advancements that allow us to do more with our time. And I do want to touch on a little bit of the technology. I know you mentioned that you created a big technology platform, and it sounds like you built something that's really great and probably not really not easy to do, or so if you could touch on a little bit about what you built, so that we can get an understanding of it.
Yeah, so we have a platform. So for people listening, we have a website, and then we have an app as well. Now with that, the whole process, you go online, you click hit a button, you enter your information, and then you can read all the documents, talks about the investment. You can sign them virtually through our technology. Then you connect your bank account to it, and you hit a button, boom, consummates the whole transaction in minutes. And that's pretty powerful. You can do it through your cell phone, you can do it through your desktop or other mediums as well. And it's a very seamless transaction. We give updates and reports too through our dashboards and build applications as well. And so that's like what you're seeing there. And we're always constantly trying to update things and make it look, the user experience, make it easier. But behind the scenes, if you think that's happening, it's all this work. It's like, it seems nice and easy. It's like adult fly up on and use it. But behind the scenes, it's all these little people doing all these different, I won't say little people, a ton of people doing all this work. You got coders, you got integrations, you're working with third-party service providers. We built out our payment processing stuff, so we had to work with banks to qualify for that, through them, get approved through that process. In the beginning stages, there was a lot of companies popped up, and the fintech was great. It's fantastic. And as you evolve as a company, you're trying to create efficiencies with that. And so efficiencies mean you're trying to lower your costs through technology, whether that's your accounting costs, your admin costs, your legal costs, your customer acquisition costs. So if you could like minimize that cost, you'd actually boost your returns, right, to your customers. So coming out of the gates, it's so you got to spend a lot of money to build it out. Of course, it's not something that's easy to do, and one person could do it. You need to build a team, and in our case, I had to raise capital. Of course, that's what I do. So I did it to build it out, and then to support it. Now we're at the growth stages. How do we create efficiencies? How do we do some things? And we're really applying technologies and really less data, but more artificial intelligence on top of our systems and processes. So it can notify us if something's not working, whether it's a profit we manage might be a little off, or maybe it's an internal process. Maybe it's something like a compliance state that we don't want to miss, and really have AI as our watchdog, our feedback mechanism to help us out with things. I'll look at behaviors of what's going on, maybe behaviors of markets, maybe our customers' behaviors, maybe behaviors with the regulators, how they always change stuff. You don't hear about it until after the fact, right? So you add that. So we're really focused on using the intelligence, the technologies to improve our operations, because we're building a company to last. We're not building something to sell to someone else. We want to build something to last, and we really want to take care of our customer. And to do that is really to create a better customer experience, and of course, always decrease our costs, and that will increase our returns to our customers.
Yeah, that's amazing. So tell me, what is the best business advice you've ever gotten?
The best, great question. Did I do like a contrarian? So I have to say it. It's like I grew up in a household where my father was unsuccessful. He was a complainer. He didn't take risks. He wanted to start his own business, but he was too scared. He was fearful. He stuck fingers. He complained. So I made a promise to him at an early age that I'm going to be successful because I'm going to do everything opposite the way you taught me. And every time I solve a problem, I go, what would he do? And I go, I'm going to do the opposite. And that, to me, is my greatest life's lesson. And I took that with me, and I think that's kind of propelled me as well, seeing him struggle. And that's how I solve problems. I've had a lot of mentors along the way, some great ones. Each one has a little different piece they've given me that I've taken. I still have today. And it's been a fantastic journey. And I kind of not big person I've had with one mentor. I love talking to a lot of different people and take things that work for them and apply them. How does it work for me? But that is probably my biggest lesson in life was growing up and having that. That's the way I took it, and that's the way I spun it into myself, at least in terms.
That's amazing. That's a great advice. Tell us a little bit about your mentors. I mean, I know mentors take up a big part in our lives, and a lot of people struggle to get mentors or struggle to have people pour into them. And obviously you've been successful at doing that. So do you have any advice on how you were able to get people to pour into you? At a young age, and even now.
Yeah. What I'd love to share with the audience on what I learned from my mentors and how I got my mentors. And I would say when I was always the intangibles. I was always at an early age. I was always one to show up, give 110% no matter what I did, have a positive attitude, just be a very sponge. I love knowledge, and I was always just bringing information into me, and that attracted the right people in my life. And as my journey and I traced and kind of went up the ladder a little bit, you change, you grow out of some mentors and others. And then it was always kind of trying to figure out how I could reciprocate back to people and give back to other people as well. I think that got me in like the nonprofit world at an early age 30. Before I know, I asked one of my female mentors. I'm like, hey, I want to get involved with charity. And she's like, oh, great. And the next thing I know, I'm being sworn in on a board of directors. I'm like, I just wanted to volunteer. No, I'm on a board of directors of an organization. And it's a fascinating story because and I did it for 4 years and ended up being a treasurer. Of course, treasurer means code for you need to raise capital. And and we had it was about arts, and we had an art student that had a very traumatic life story, and some short film guys, documentarists, was trying to do a documentary, and they heard her story, and they did a documentary on her, and before we know it, it won an Academy Award for Best Short Film Documentary. I think it was 2008 it won. And that was something that I was always proud of to be a part of. At the end of the day, is giving back and using my skill set of kind of raising money to contribute to this person. It was a tearjerker of a story. It's called Innocente. Google it, 2008, YouTube. Actually, it's on YouTube. Watch the video, and it's really heartbreaking. I talk about it. I'll get a little teary-eyed of her story and how she overcame these obstacles in her life to do what she did, and I'm proud to be a part of that organization and to help someone out like her. But and then mentors, and that's one example of a mentor who got me into something in life. And today, you get a little older, you try to give back to other people. I mentor a lot of younger people, and I try to give out as much time as I can and not sacrifice my kids as much too, because I got 3 kids, so I gotta balance that out a little bit. But I do still have mentors. That's growing too. I still have people I talk to along the way, and there's one guy in particular that I still talk to. Is probably my best one. I call him like the godfather of all mentors. He's just got the right words. Once you find that one person, you just stay in touch with them. But it's been quite a journey, and it's again, for the audience, I would say, just the intangibles they're looking at, and it's that ethic, those your values, your hard work, showing up, reciprocity, and just you as a person, and you'll start attracting those people into your life.
Yeah. That's a very important thing. Wow, that's incredible. And a lot of the people that get into entrepreneurship, it's all about getting the right rooms. Being part of the board of advisors of a charity, you had to be in the right room in order to get that opportunity. And in order to be mentored by some very awesome capital raisers in real estate and all that, you have to be in the right room. So what did you do, from a very young age that got you in this right room with the people that you wanted to rub elbows with so that you can do business with them?
The right room was like these small decisions. It's when I was leaving college and going from college to move to California and having a conversation with this person I met in my college town. It wasn't a friend, it was someone I met through a friend who was moving out the same area. I'm like, we're moving from Boulder, Colorado to California. And I want to live in San Diego. And I want to live in one part of San Diego. It's like, Craig, but if this is what your goals be, we should live in this part of town. And he was kind of a match with values with me. He's a hardworking guy. And we decided to move, instead of like the fun part of town, we moved to La Jolla, which is La Jolla, California, was pretty wealthy part of San Diego. So we kind of just dove into that area and surrounded ourselves with wealthy people. I think it was like 97 was the year. So we kind of went where it was, so a little different. And then we just started working our way up and just did what I said before, is just kind of showed up, a lot of intangibles, worked hard, learned a lot, talked to a lot of people, and that got recognized, and that led one door opening to the next, to the next. So there was intent there. And then the desire came from childhood. So it was a little bit more of having the one choice I made, but really the desire to push through that and overcome those obstacles along the way. And when one door opened, sometimes it would shut, I'd find another door, and it kind of just exponentially took off.
Yeah, that's big advice right there. So tell us, what is the most amount of money you've ever made in a single year?
Oh, well, how's the market today? I mean, I could say in some cases, because I got a platform, I could say it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars because of that, because just the valuation of the company that we own today. The market's like, 2022 is a little better than today, the valuation of the company. So yeah, I mean, it's up there. I have a unique thing is like I have a tech platform plus we own real estate. So it's in hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. Wow. And so come in looking at that, if someone that's, 18 years old, or 20 years old, just like you when you were younger, and can't even imagine of having this amount of wealth, at your age, what would you tell them to do, in order to get clear on their path so that they can accomplish what you have accomplished?
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I do have two nephews that are between 18 and 20, and they're both they're two different uncles, and they're both pretty successful. I mean, geez. I mean, one guy's like always flying around the country. How you doing? And he has a side business. The other one has a side business as well. So I'm looking at that. I think that came from both their parents. At the end of the day, it was ingrained in them at an early age, that the work ethic. They have this insatiable work ethic, desire. And then a commonality between both of them is they kept surrounding themselves with people. They kept learning from people, investing time into people who knew more than them. They didn't have a lot of ego involved. They're sponges. They wanted to learn. And then when they made money, and they invested in themselves. So I think the big thing is like invest in yourself, surrounding yourself with other people, and being a little bit humble. And you get recognized. The humility part of it is really you get recognized by being humble. However, before the humility, because that's when they meet you, you got to take the step yourself. And just kind of dedicating yourself and putting yourself in that position to meet those people.
Yeah, that's a big deal. What you touched on a very important thing here, which is invest in yourself. How do you do that, and how should someone do that?
You can start simple. You can start with a book, right? Listen to a podcast. Podcasts are great. I don't think I read a book. It's more audibles nowadays than books. Podcasts, go to events. Digitally, there's everything nowadays. I'm going to go with chat. Chat GPT has been awesome. That's like every day I learned something new using that. I did some like financial modeling in like 30 seconds. That took me like, oh my God, I would have told someone to do it. It would have took like 4 days. It took 30 seconds. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then going to events, I'm big about a person-to-person meeting. You could actually pay for coaches nowadays, which is a good thing. You could pay for that. I have spent millions, tens of millions of dollars, almost hundreds of millions of dollars on attorneys to learn. And so I was like, wow, it's like there's guys like me out there who's already spent that millions of dollars that you could hire too as well for maybe tens of thousands of dollars, depends what's level, or thousands of dollars to get their knowledge. You could do that as well. There's a lot of ways to learn. There's groups you could attend, local groups, national groups. There's so many avenues out there to do it. You'll be surprised. It's not that difficult once you start doing that and kind of applying yourself. And yeah, don't give up. If you go to one group, it didn't work out, you should go back to that same group, maybe try it again. You go to a different group, just keep going. And I call it iteration. And I have a saying like do, learn, grow. And do is like I attended the group. I didn't meet anyone because I tried something different. Okay, I'll try something different next time. And that's where I kind of grow. Maybe it's not the group, maybe it's your approach, and kind of do that iteration again and again. You'll have an exponential return on yourself by doing that as your personal growth and your development. One of my mentors said something strong is life isn't about just learning a book. It's developed. It's by consistently putting yourself out there and trying again and again, and things are developed with practice, with repetition. And so that would be my advice: is get out there, start doing, and get that repetition going.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, I want to touch on a little bit on the kind of asset types that you work on. Can you tell us a little bit about the asset type that you work on, and what are some of the strengths about it, so that the audience can learn more about it?
Yeah, I mean, today it's like investing in companies and investing in multifamily real estate. As we're talking today, I'm proactively a new fund I opened that I'm purchasing assets throughout the U.S. Been doing this for a while, so I know how to get assets into distressed assets. I just have that knack because I have the industry connections to do that. If you're next level up, you're an institutional player, of course, you're buying from each other right now and buying from the banks. There's opportunities there as well. So I'm really focused on buying distressed multifamily, love cash flowing properties, trying to find undervalued stuff. Geographically, I'm through the whole U.S., so I just chase yield. Specifically, we own stuff in the Carolinas, Florida, Texas. We're in California. I own some stuff in California that's actually doing really well, which is a surprise to me. See how big our portfolio is. I always thought that'd be the least performing one, but it's the best performance ones. And those came from relationships, though. Those weren't like on the market through a broker. When a broker, I say you work with a broker, you're going to go broke, right? You want to get something that's off market. The broker's job is to get the highest and best value out of that property for the customer. So when a broker said, I got a deal from that broker, then he didn't do his fiduciary responsibility to that seller. He didn't put two people and made them big against themselves, right? So if you got the better deal than this other guy, why'd you get it, right? Because he's not doing his job until he does that. So how do you get a deal? So you got to kind of understand that game and how that works, right? And you got to go out there. If you want to get the level where you're door knocking, there's a lot of people who door knock and you get off-market deals that exist. Look, a lot of the baby boomer generation set up for retirement. They own a lot of real estate, so they might just want to get rid of that stuff. You might want to go out to them, especially today. They might just want to cash it out, go and find out what they own and go and make some offers, lowball some offers out there. So there's a lot of opportunities out there today. That's what I'm focused on. Companies is a little strange to me to be purchasing because a lot of them are struggling. So there's been a shift in dynamics in how they work. And so you just be careful if you're purchasing a company. You got to look at really you got to look ahead. There's certain economic indicators looking at. Is that product going to be good in 5 or 10 years from now? Is it adapting technology? Do I have a good, am I buying something that's cash flow positive today? Do I have the right people running it? Because you don't want to go in and buy a company and then have to fire everyone and start from scratch, because then you're just going to be just going to crush you at the end of the day. Could be in the business, not on the business type of stuff. But there is opportunities to buy companies as well. I just read a stat that 40% of all small businesses are going to be laid on their rents. So there is, so when that happens, that's what 40% of all, there's a lot of small businesses out there. I don't have the data in front of me. I can go over here and get chat going. We'll spit it out, right? How many there are. Yeah. But, that means there's a lot of opportunity out there, because a lot of those people might want to sell their businesses too. Again, a lot of baby boomers are out there, want to sell their businesses, and they want to sell today, you probably get a discount. But I just be careful of what you're buying, because what worked a few years ago in that market is not going to work today. You have to take a different approach, whether that's your sales technique, your marketing technique, your branding, all that's shifting so drastically. And if you're not adapting AI to it, you're going to be behind the times. So that's definitely something you have to apply to any business you purchase.
Yeah. Totally understand. I want to touch on something that you talked on, which is, I think it's very important, and I think we should expand on a little bit. And that is building relationships, building relationships with brokers, or building a relationship with mentors or anybody. Like, how is it that you've been able to build relationships in your life that have been able to provide beneficial results for both of you, and you've been able to grow, and how can someone do it?
Yeah, I mean, you got to put yourself out there. You just got to get out there, meet people, shake hands, communicate. Just people are easy to talk to. You just introduce yourself, listen, ask them questions about themselves. It's not too hard. virtually we do it. I like the face-to-face stuff. There's groups now. I think there's a thirst for people to be face-to-face. So since there's that thirst out there, give them that, give them that work, give them that drink, give them that respect, give them that time and energy about, hey, I'm going to go out there and meet people. I think today you can really build some strong relationships if you take that approach, and just get out and just don't ask for it. Just engage in conversations. Just keep doing it and iterate that, and then you'll develop a style. You'll develop what works for you. So it's kind of getting out there, just trying again and again and again, meeting people and giving them something, and just be a nice person first and foremost. Listen, see if you could offer them some things you might have, maybe some connections, and just keep going at it. And I would attend of course, maybe events you want to learn to at the same time, because it attracts other people as well, and so you at least learn something from maybe a speaker or something at the same time to accelerate your learning, your growth there as well. But it's you got to take the first step. It's up to you. It's like I could tell you what to do, but you still have to take that initial action.
Yeah. Totally true. Can you give me your top maybe 3 book recommendations that you would give to someone to read?
And I'm in love of this book. I got one of these old Napoleon Hill books right here. If you can see it, it's just like really old. It's one down. It's like all the sweat I have on it from over the years. So I've had that one for like 30 years. That one does not get old at all. I don't know why. That one's awesome. And then I'm kind of like, I love Robert Greene stuff. I love Robert Greene stuff. 48 Laws of Power, Laws of Human Nature, Daily Laws. I'm fascinated with how he combines psychology and philosophy and human behavior all together, and history. It's just something that I really enjoy. And then kind of, I have a couple authors that I really like on, a little bit of spiritual side of things. And, I had a good friend of mine. I love her book. That they play as the Dark Side of Light Chasers. Just someone who was dear to me early in my life that I met. That was more about spirituality. Her name's Debbie Ford. Loved her books. Really had a profound impact upon me when I was younger in life, and that's definitely one I'd recommend. Just my special relationship with that author years ago. Unfortunately, she passed away over 10 years ago of cancer, but she was a great person. I mean, if you don't remember her, like, she was on Oprah at the same time that this other guy was on Oprah, but the other guy's personality is a little bit bigger, and they both were first visit on the Oprah Winfrey Show. The other guy was Dr. Phil. So if you know where he is, his personality took over, but she was just right there. Oprah had them both on the show at the same time. So it's always a story I like to share. She's a little bit more held back. And of course, Dr. Phil took off. But yeah, I'd recommend her book, Debbie Ford.
Okay. That's awesome. Great. So let's talk about, why are you buying businesses and why are you buying real estate? And what do you look to make in the next 5 to 10 years with that, your legacy?
Yeah, for me today, specifically, I think there's opportunities out there. I think with the knowledge I've had in my lifetime, my purchases are going to be for maybe in one of my last rounds of purchases in life, and kind of build them and set and forget it, and set up for my kids and my future generations. And so when down cycles happen, I'm an equal opportunist. I'm going to look at both and see what I could purchase for myself. So I'm looking at both things. What I can keep on long term for my family, and from a business angle as well. And my business is what can my businesses buy at the same time to help them out. It's my future responsibility to go out there and look for the best opportunities. And so I have to open it. It's not just real estate. It's across all alternative assets. And there's things out there that I believe that could help our community out. I am 100%, 10% going to go out there and give it my all to make sure my community reaps the benefits from those investment opportunities.
Yeah, that's a great cause. Love it. What do you, so you said you started building a personal brand. What are some things that you're talking about that people might want to follow you to listen to about?
Yeah, I mean, the typical stuff, right? A little bit about, it's always a little bit how to capital raise, how to structure deals, asset classes themselves, but a little bit about the journey, my story. And then along that way, I'm big into the biohacking and leadership and personal development. Older in life, in my 50s, I do a lot of CrossFit like 6 days a week. I'm big into, I got like a big barrel sauna in my backyard and do the hot cold therapy. I've been able to surround myself with some of the best athletes in the world. So I get all this great information from them every time they're learning new stuff. It gets drilled down to my level. I love that stuff. Started learning about breath work, get into meditation from some people in my life. Always personal development, how I can make myself a better leader, better husband, better father. Part of me is always guilty that I'm not spending my time with my kids because I'm always doing all these things all the time. So I'm trying to learn how to balance that together as well. And just being real with people, like the real struggles I go through too. I got highs and lows, and how do I keep going each and every day? And it is those things, I have to incorporate those things to my life to do that. Everything's integrated. It's not just work and then that cuts off, or that cuts off. It's integrated with each other. So I find like moments in the day where maybe I'll bring my kids to work, or I'll find moments in the middle of the day where I should like get out and go for a walk in the sun, or moments in the day maybe I should do breath work, or maybe I do it early in the morning. I kind of mix it up depending on how I'm feeling to stay in balance as much as I can. And I'm proactive with it. So I get sick less, I get stressed out less, there's less anxiety by doing all of these things. And I just want to be authentic with people and say, I'm a human being and I'm just like you, and this is how I do it. And if I could help you on your journey and your life journey, I want to share my stories with you, and hopefully you get something from that yourself.
Yeah, that's an amazing, personal brand there you got building. Let's touch on something that's very important, which is leadership. You mentioned you're very big on leadership. Why are you so big on leadership, and why should someone be big on leadership?
Yeah, it's there's a thirst out there for leaders in today's world. I think a lot of ourselves a lot of things have changed over the last 4 or 5 years. The pendulum just kind of keeps going like really one direction then the next direction. It really exists in the end of the day. Most people are kind of in the middle if you look at it. And so I think now is a very important time for authentic leaders to get out there. Really, I think it's like a responsibility of us to get out there and we have a voice and to be heard and to share stories with people. And whether I'm building an organization or I'm helping other people out, I've started participating in men's groups over the last couple of years and going through the programs to be a leader there, to give back to some of the younger men who are having difficulties in today's world. I'm open up to all types of different people in the world. I think we're all the same at the end of the day, and there's a lot of heat out there and a lot of polarization. And I kind of want to like lead the way and say, hey, you know what, we're all the same. We all have the same kind of struggles in life, and if we work together, it's in our best interest to do that at the end of the day. And then as far as like leading, of course, if you want to have a great organization, making yourself a better leader is very important. A lot of times we put that past as like, hey, maybe I'm doing a business, it's all about you, but it's about the people who work with you. How are you developing them? There's a lot of things to do with that. I make a lot of mistakes. I'm not like the in my early days, horrible boss, and I've learned from it. I've learned how to do that. I don't get it right all the time. And I got it wrong like last week again, and I had to keep learning from that again. It's like, well, what do I do? It's like, how do I make this something that I'm doing? I'm being authentic, and at the same time, I'm doing something that's win-win for all parties here. I'm human. I'm just like everybody else. And it's important to kind of develop that. It's like a muscle, and you always constantly have to do that. And as you do that, it's important. I think it's important for more of us to kind of put the energy and effort into that. And that it's a scary thing. It's scary for people to put their neck out in the line. And especially in today's world, you put your neck out there and people start just commenting about you, right? Whether they don't even know who you are, they're just kind of doing that. And it's something that I've had to make myself feel comfortable with over the years. And hey, I'm doing something that's different. Okay, I'm putting myself out there digitally. I'm learning how to deal with that today too. So to answer your question, I think it's very important for all of us, and degrees, of course. Degrees, everyone doesn't have to be like perfect, right? Because you can't have everyone just be like an Elon Musk type person.
Yeah.
But all of us have an opportunity to lead in some form.
Yeah, that's a very important thing. I know that one of the very important things that with leadership that comes right next to it, it's culture. What culture do you bring, or are you building, around, your businesses and your team and your personal brand?
Yeah, very, that's a great question. And there's what's the saying? Leadership trumps culture. I forget what the saying is. But how we're doing it, we're starting with values. We're starting with our values. And so we're very, very transparent with what we are. This is who we are, we're being authentic, and then supporting that with our values. That's where it all starts. So we got to check that list off with us. So that's where we start. So are you aligned with the values with that? And what those values mean, really kind of, we're explicit. We have them all written out on what they are. And we just try to align ourselves the best we can. We've taken to another level in our organization as we're testing at the same time. So we go into like, okay, we're very authentic. This is who we are. And then we talk about our values. And then we kind of, okay, this is what you'll be doing here. And then we kind of test you out and see if your traits match everything. It's important to do that because I've learned with time, it's like a lot of people could just say yes, or you call their references up and they're right. They're all going to say great things about you, but to lean into that, because it's like buying a piece of real estate. If you buy right, everything's great, right? Or you buy the right asset, that's great. So it's the same thing with development culture. Is like, well, you got to hire it, get the right people. So if I'm this way and I'm like, okay, I'm an authentic, communicative person, and I surround myself with all these people, just very that's not going to work for me, right? It might work for someone else. So you got to be true to yourself. And it's practice. You're developing that. Again, you're developing how to do that with practice and what works for you. But you get it right and amazing things happen. You're all aligned. It's easy to talk to people. It's easy to get things done. It's like, I don't want to get into this conversation with this person. And why is that? It's like, well, where's the anxiety come from? What's the reason? Well, if you all align the same way, you should have that free-flowing communication going if you develop that culture. And so that's really kind of, it's up to you to do that. And you could put a science behind it. You can put a science to it. It takes work. You're going to have to go through some lessons in there, and lessons means cost. When people say lessons, to me, it's code words, can cost money, right? Lose money in a way. But yeah, people are doing it, and there's people out there that get mentors for that. Just on how to build an organization and build culture. There's a lot of mentors out there. I'd ask good questions, though. So always people have ideas of what that means, and you got to dig deeper with some questions.
Yeah, totally. Amazing. And yeah, you're a big biohacker, and you're into health. I saw some of your content. You're pretty ripped. I mean, and you're 50, right? And so a lot of the people your age are not, working out, doing this kind of activity. What do you think, separates you, and what are the benefits maybe that to maybe inspire some of these people to get in shape, and start doing some fitness, activities?
Yeah, my fitness thing came from an obstacle in life, and University Forrest Gump. I had braces on my legs as a kid, and so I had to teach myself how to walk. And that's, I think, maybe ingrained in me how to come adversity. And then when I was in junior high, I remember, not junior high, it was like, I think it was 6th grade. There was like, there's like all the kids huddled around. Like one kid had something wrong with him. It turned out to be me, and I had like a curvature in my spine. And the doctor told my parents for me to start lifting weights to make my body straight. So I had to overcome a lot to do that. And that's kind of where the seeds were planted for me of fitness. I had to do it just to walk and just to kind of have a functioning body. And so it's always been a part of me in my life. And then I became athletic, and it just kind of stuck with me. And so that's my story. And for everyone else, people are athletic. It's just, my recommendation is just start moving and figure out what works for you. I've done everything across my life, whether you like yoga, you like a bodybuilder, CrossFit, swimming, triathletes, whatever it is, alternative sports, snowboarding, skiing, all that stuff. It's all great. Skateboarding, it's whatever you like to do, and just find out what you like to do, what fits into your lifestyle.
Yeah, that's a big deal. What do you think is some of the things that you're teaching your kids at this point in their life that you think you could talk to the parents in the room?
Well, and my kids, I'm not sure what my kids teach them. My oldest one is just doing it. She's got this work ethic that I find unbelievable, and my wife and I talk about it. And so she sees me work a lot. So I think she got that. The other ones, my other couple kids are got a lot more energy. They're very passionate. So I really want them to, like, I call it superpowers. Use your superpowers for good. I really want them just to kind of be themselves, and they're very outgoing, and I want to make sure that they're not compromising who they are truly. I want them to express themselves, and I put them in positions where they can be successful in who they are. I don't want to tell them and say, no, you're not, you needed to be this way. No, I want them to kind of flourish. I want that to come out, that superpower. No, one of my children, one of my daughters is very, very passionate, and she likes talking to people all the time. So I really tell her, yeah, just let's lean into this. Let's do more things where you could communicate with people. My youngest one is kind of like a wrecking ball. So it's just she's a little bit of everything. But I just she's got this amazing amount of energy, and she's just so adorable. And I just I just tell her, just say, just be you. Just you're very young, so we're still developing her. And I don't get really mad when she does things. I'm like, okay, let's on. What do we do here? How do we kind of control that? I taught one of my younger ones how to breath work when she gets a little too riled up.
Yeah.
So it was cute. The other weekend, I had my 8-year-old and 4-year-old doing breathing exercises with me because they got a lot of energy. So I was trying to tell them, okay, this is good, but we have to continue at a time. So just trying to direct them just a little bit, little pieces of wisdom here and there, as much as I can.
Incredible. Yeah, that's really good. And I guess one very important thing. Obviously, you're married, right? So, what is it that you do, in order to keep yourself, in business and, very well with your wife, so that you guys can continue to grow together as a partner, as partners, as a couple.
I think I got lucky. I think I chose the right wife. So I got married later in life. I would say is a big deal. So I think with that, a lot of, lack of a better word, trial and error in making sure. And then when I was just met my wife, was literally looking at, she had a big background in fitness. She came from a really good family with a lot of values. So the values was big thing, was her family, and the fact that she was into health and clean living was a big deal for me. And she owned some businesses in the stages of her life too previously, so she could understand what it takes. Yeah. So you could say I was kind of hit the trifecta: values, the same fitness background, was a business owner. It was a really good match for myself. And then the repetition of kind of not finding the right one for a long time, and later in life gave me that opportunity to get it right finally. Most people thought I wasn't, but I did. Yeah. So yeah, don't compromise, right? I held out and I didn't compromise. So
that's good. That's good advice. Yeah. I love it. Alrighty. So what do you think we can go see you? What are your social media channels? Where are you most active? Will you be having, a podcast in the future or a YouTube channel? What are your kind of your horizons on this content creation?
Yeah. We're pushing hard the content. CXC, Criag Cecilio, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, really pushing that out hard. A lot of good content, a lot of good tidbits there. Check out the company, DiversyFund.com. Podcast. Be starting to do some public speaking here in the future, so you might see me doing some live events. Always on podcast, not interested in podcast quite yet, but I'll be out there in public a lot more in the future. So you can definitely get me through on my handle.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you. It's been a great pleasure, to be interviewing you today. Do you have any parting words to the audience that could cement this podcast interview for them?
Yeah, I got to say that in life, it's like that, and I call it the extra 10%. When you find that kind of feeling of anxiety in you, and you know what that is, you get that point where you're getting a little tense, maybe the heart is racing a little bit more, you get a little nervous, and you're going to have that desire to run away from it and retreat from it or point a finger at somebody. But that's when you got to lean into it, lean into that extra 10%, because that's where the growth happens. So when you get that feeling of anxiety, you get that feeling of self-doubt about something, lean into it, because that's where the growth comes in.
Yeah, love it. That's a great way to end this podcast. All right. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and hope to have you on in the future. Okay?
Yeah, sounds great. Appreciate it.
Alrighty.